Remember 2014? Remember when experts said the world was becoming more peaceful? Yeah, about that. Turns out things took a turn. Remember those optimistic predictions? They crashed and burned in a fiery hellscape of global conflict. By 2019, conflict deaths were down, people were hopeful, then came the surge. By 2024, things were bleak. We're talking 1.2 million conflict deaths. This is a horrifying statistic. It's the highest number since the Rwandan genocide in 1994. Civil wars raged, new conflicts ignited, the world was anything but peaceful. So what happened? How did we get here? Let's unpack this mess, shall we? Remember those claims about interstate wars being a thing of the past? Well, somebody forgot to tell Russia and Ukraine the war in Ukraine is a big deal. It's a major power trying to conquer another country. Not exactly a sign of global harmony, right? But it's not just Ukraine. Civil wars are on the rise. They're messier, more brutal, and harder to resolve. Take Ethiopia, for example. Their civil war from 2020 to 2022 was a bloodbath. Estimates suggest over 500,000 civilians died. Sudan, Myanmar, and various African nations are grappling with Islamist insurgencies. Mali, Nigeria, Somalia, Burkina Faso, Mozambique, the list goes on. The nature of conflict is changing, and it's not pretty. Turns out drawing lines on a map doesn't magically solve everything. Many conflicts today stem from unresolved issues left over from colonial times in the Soviet era. Remember those mostly fixed borders everyone was so sure about? Yeah, not so much. We've got a dozen territorial disputes simmering, especially in Africa and Asia. The India-China border clash is a prime example. And let's not forget China's not-so-subtle claims on Taiwan. These disputes are like ticking time bombs, just waiting for the wrong spark. Here's a comforting thought. Democracies don't go to war with each other. It's a nice idea, but is it holding up? The jury is still out on that one. While democracies might not be fighting each other directly, they're certainly not shy about getting involved in other conflicts. Whether it's providing military aid, supporting proxy forces, or engaging in good old-fashioned regime change, democracies are still major players in the global conflict arena. And let's not forget that even within democracies, the rise of nationalism and political polarization can create fertile ground for conflict. So, while democracy might be a factor in promoting peace, it's certainly not a foolproof guarantee. Section 5, the price of power, military spending, and the global arms race. Let's talk about money, shall we? Specifically the obscene amounts of money countries spend on their militaries. The United States still leads the pack, but China is catching up fast. And when I say catching up, I mean really catching up. Their military spending is through the roof, and they're not being shy about flexing their muscles. This global arms race isn't exactly a recipe for peace. It creates an atmosphere of suspicion, fear, and competition. And let's be honest, when you've got a shiny new hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. Section 6. Fueling the flames. External support and proxy conflicts. Conflict is rarely a simple, two-sided affair. Often there are external actors lurking in the shadows, pulling strings and fanning the flames. These meddling outsiders often provide weapons, training, and funding to their chosen sides, turning local conflicts into proxy wars. The war in Ukraine is a prime example. Russia is actively supporting separatists in eastern Ukraine, while NATO countries are providing military aid to the Ukrainian government. This external support only serves to prolong conflicts and make them even more deadly. Section 7. A multipolar world. New alliances, new tensions. The world is no longer dominated by just one or two superpowers. We're entering a new era of multipolarity, with multiple centers of power vying for influence. This shift in the global balance of power creates both opportunities and challenges. On the one hand, a multipolar world could lead to greater cooperation and a more balanced international system. On the other hand, it could also lead to increased competition, mistrust, and the potential for conflict as these new power centers jostle for dominance. Section 8. Navigating the fog of war. The importance of nuance and critical thinking. In our hyper-connected world, we're bombarded with information about conflicts from all sides. It's easy to get caught up in the propaganda and misinformation. That's why it's more important than ever to be critical thinkers. We need to question our assumptions, seek out diverse perspectives, and be wary of simplistic narratives. Understanding the complexities of conflict requires nuance, empathy, and a willingness to engage with uncomfortable truths. Section 9. The future of conflict, challenges and opportunities for peace. So, what does the future hold for global conflict? That's the million-dollar question, and unfortunately, there's no easy answer. The world is a complex and ever-changing place, and conflict is a tragic but enduring part of the human experience. However, amidst the chaos and violence, there are also glimmers of hope. People are working tirelessly to build peace, promote dialogue, and address the root causes of conflict. From grassroots activists to international organizations, there are countless individuals and groups dedicated to creating a more just and peaceful world. The path to peace is long and arduous, but it's a journey worth taking.